basically, uh, see, what is a weight lab in research? A weight lab is a type of basically laboratory where experiments are conducted using liquid, solution, and chemical, as opposed to dry lab where the computational or theoretical work is performed. So this is the basic requirement in a weight lab, where you conduct, or you can say where we conduct the research. In case of the weight lab, there we need what? There we need, as I told you, as I told you very initially, in case of the weight lab, we must have a good equipment, good developed research, devices. So, but in case of the dry lab, you don't need a well developed, research. You don't need a well developed spaces, rooms or the laboratory, because you must have some software in your laptop or in the desktop, and exactly, you must have knowledge of certain software to run or to do the work. Well, you see, these are the basically equipment or the instrument which you need to perform the weight lab. Like you need a pipette, you need a macro pipette, you need a centrifuge, you need a microscope, you need an incubator, you need autoclave, you need a laboratory glassware. So these are the image which I have put here, and here you can understand. Here you can understand what are the basically minimum devices you require to perform a small research. Okay, so these are the very minimum. Even apart from these we need a lot of other things also. Like if you do some work on the like in a DNA, you must have a PCR, as well as suppose if you want to extract on a bioactive metabolites from the medicinal plant, you need a Soxhlet chamber. So in this way, a lot of devices you need to perform a good research in a weight lab. And that again, I'm tell you, that is not possible, or that may not be present everywhere. Now, another aspects of this weight labs, there we need, that is very important. Suppose when you perform, when you perform like even very simple, I'm tell you, very simple experiment. You take like an electrophoresis. When you are going to perform a simple experiment, electrophoresis, okay, fine. So there are a lot of chemical you have to need. Among them, one chemical that is called ethidium bromide. Yeah, that I hope you have heard about this ethidium bromide. That is very carcinogenic. If you slight commit a mistake, there are the chances, if it get inside in your body, and suppose by means, if not get in your body, but the when you're performing the work, and suppose somebody is standing in front of you, and you by your mistake, if it get inside in the body of this like someone else, then it's a quite hazardous, because I tell you, ethidium bromide is a carcinogenic. So there are highly chances to uh, you know someone who get this chemical, maybe he will be in future he will get a cancer, because it's a carcinomic. Well, in this way, this is a big challenge. We need to perform the weight lab with very cautious. Yeah. So this is also a big, you can say the hurdle as a challenge, or the precautions which you need to maintain, which you need to do. Same time, you don't need to take that much precautions when you are doing a research in a dry lab, because there is no chance of any chemical need to when get into your body. You are simply sitting in front of the computer. You are simply sitting in front of the laptop, and you're doing your work. So you are simply, when you are doing some research on the dry lab, means you just doing your work, nothing to worry. Don't need to be taken precautions like when you are doing some work in case of wet lab. So this is one of the example I'm telling you. Okay, when you are performing electrophoresis and there is some chemical which you need to do, very judicially, very precautionally, because it's a carcinomic. So this is also a big thing which you need to remember. You see, there are, sorry. Uh, Now again, there are some biological samples. Another big It's, you can't tell as a hurdle. It's an you can say that, big, you can say that it's a big matter from where you take your sample. Because if you want to, if you wanna work on the animal, definitely you need to the animal. The same time, if you're doing some like micro, if you're doing, or if you want to do work on the on certain bacteria, so you can't take a bacteria by somewhere else, है ना? Then it's mean that you have to take the certain microbes from a very premier institute like IMTCH Chandigarh, or certain authorized labs are in our country who can give you the particular bacteria. Because and even suppose if you are doing some work and you doing, suppose you simply you have to isolate some bacteria or the fungus from either rotten fruits and like but you cannot say the bacteria by my any microbe which I have isolated from this rotten fruits and vegetable. This is lactobacillus, this is streptococcus, this is what. So again you have to send these sample to IMTCH Chandigarh or some these kind of like institution for 16 or 18 RNA sequencing to know that the name of the bacteria. This is also a big thing. So you just see what are basically the hurdle, you can say, or you can say the requirement, or you can say basically how many things you need to do to conduct a weight lab research. There are a lot of things which you need to maintain. That is sometimes not possible to maintain in front of you in the slide. Like when you are going to do some research work in like in a weight lab, you have to get a permission from ethical board. Again there is some problem. You have to tell the ethical board if you are going to work on like animal or human being, why you want to do the work on the human being, on the animal. Again you have to convince them, because my intention is this, and so the reason will be this. Again ethical board may give you the permission or not. So weight lab work is a quite difficult work, though it is a necessary. Though it is necessary, I'm not telling you कि weight lab leave the all work in weight lab and just shift to dry lab. My intention is the two things. Those who don't get the good lab, they should directly switch over to the dry lab, because dry lab is more convenient, easy, and feasible to conduct the research. Even yes, and I'm by the end of I'm tell you is somewhere a dry lab is ahead of the wet lab. Yes,